You all know my name's Clarence Quinn. I'm running for Commissioner for Precinct 4 of Montgomery County. A lot of people ask me why I want to run for County Commissioner. One of the biggest reasons I want to see the improvements in Montgomery County. The status quo that we have over now has been kind of a stagnant status quo on the roads, transportation type of drainage. We're in bad need of drainage. I've lived in Precinct 4 for 44 years, going on 45 years. Some of the same problems we had when we first moved into the Canyon area, we still have the same problems in the same locations. They've never been addressed. That's the problems I'm shooting for. That's the problems I have my eyes on. The new development that we have is great. They're bringing new tax revenue. Some of the companies that's coming in is giving some pretty good rebates to bring them in. Is that a good deal? To a point, maybe it is. Maybe it ain't. Who has to pay for the improvements in the roads to bring that extra traffic in? The existing taxpayers do. That's right. It should be a load on the taxpayers that's there for companies or developments to come in and make a profit on the shoulders of the existing taxpayers. That is what I want to try to stop, try to change. My background in construction goes way back. I started in high school in construction. I was a pipe fitter on the pipe fitters trade school. I moved out of pipe into general construction. I've been superintendent for the last 20 years for one company. I changed companies back the first of the year to a safety manager. But in construction, I've done all phases, from the ground up. With my experience in construction, and my experience in the estimating and the budgeting of the projects, I believe that my experience brings a lot to the table for Montgomery County. I have 2 kids, 3 grandchildren. My kids are grown, they live in Montgomery County. My dad's still alive, he's 83 years old. He's a retired school teacher from the King. So my roots go deep over there, and I plan on staying. I'm not going to move out every summer and come back if I get wanted to leave. I'm here to stay. I'm the real thing. That's all it in a nutshell.
Thank you for that overview. Let's see. Ken, you have questions?
Sure. What are the top 3 areas of the budget that you think need adjustment?
Law enforcement's one of the top, in my opinion. And then fire protection. And then our roads and drainage.
Okay.
I believe in giving law enforcement the money they need to do the job safely and adequately, effectively.
What was the second one you mentioned? Law enforcement, then what?
Fire protection.
Fire. Okay. And do you think they're funded adequately currently, or?
From talking to different ones in the fire department, talking to different ones in law enforcement, they could use more money.
Okay.
They could use more funds to do it better. I mean, they do a great job, don't get me wrong, they do a great job, fantastic job with what they've got, but they could be better.
And where do we get that money?
It could be budgeted, it could be, there's some things that they spend money on that could be eliminated or reduced and put that money back into the fire department or the law enforcement. I don't think we'd have to raise taxes to do it.
Okay.
Pat? You're just observing?
Observing.
Okay, Jen?
Now, I'm going to ask you about law enforcement. I'll try to ask 2. The first one is really more of a scenario. Let's say you've got, in your budget, the only thing you have left to deal with an issue is $5 million, all right? And the issues are this. The sheriff comes and says, I need that $5 million in order to deal with the increase in cartel crimes in our county. Then the constable in our precinct comes up and says, well, I need $5 million in order to do a task force to apprehend child sex predators. They're both important issues. You only got $5 million. What do you decide and why?
We have to sit down and look at, we see which way it goes. I mean, what is the sheriff want to do versus what does the constable want to do? And see which one would be the most important. Let them lay out their plan and just, I mean, you couldn't make a decision just right at the moment. You'd have to do a little research on it and see which one would be the best for the community.
Okay. The other one I was going to ask you was, again, law enforcement. Now, I've talked to some in our precinct 4, and I'm also precinct chairman for the Republican Party. And what comes up a lot, and this came up in the Woodlands, they already had a vote on this, and they'll talk about, well, we need a civil service like Harris County has. And I'll tell them, I said, look, what you're really talking about are unions. That's what you're talking about. What is your perspective on, if you're approached by fire department, sheriff, any law enforcement for unionization, how we handle that?
Never been asked that question. Never thought about it, but
Then I found a good question.
I found a good question. Would the unions be a better deal for them? If that's what you're
Exactly.
saying?
Well, not just for them, the taxpayers.
The taxpayer.
Right. And for the county commissioners.
I wouldn't think it would be.
So would you explain to law enforcement why you turned them down? Or what would be the bad part about it?
Because now you're dealing with the union speaking for the law officers instead of the law officers speaking for themselves.
That's true.
I've always been the type of person to speak for myself other than letting the union speak for me. And that's what happens is when you have a union, if you look at all the unions try to run the police department or the sheriff's department. The guys in the sheriff's department don't do that. The unions try to do it.
Well, they try to run the budget too.
Right, that's it. Don't get me wrong, I started out union. And I work for a company now that's all union. I didn't for 20 years.
That's in union in construction.
In construction, it's still the same way. The unions that we have nowadays versus what the unions were when I started out in it is a lot different. Back when I started out in it, it was all union or no unions working at all. Now, you got union guys working outside, non-union guys. So it's a little different. But if you look at the police union in Houston and the firemen's union, you see they try to run the whole department from the union hall instead of letting the city or the employees run where they see fit.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so went into men in mind, so that's okay. I'll let it go because I wanted to hear that answer. Okay, so one quick question. Are you still a Republican precinct chair of 26?
No, sir, I forfeited it to run for this election.
Okay, all right. And in light of the increased property valuations, will you vote to decrease the property tax rate?
Yes, sir.
And why?
The existing group of people we have in office now, that's been there a long time, pat themselves on the back that they did not raise taxes, the tax rate. They're correct. They haven't raised the tax rate in several years. The property values have increased. So in a roundabout way, we've all paid an increase in taxes.
That's right.
With our new businesses coming into Montgomery County, our new facilities coming in, the tax base is increasing. I do believe if they budget it right and got down to the brass tax on it, they could actually decrease the tax rate and still bring in the same amount of money.
Anybody got a follow-on to that? You'll have to say.
On the tax rate, yes. Sure.
You'll have to say, because my time's up, I forgot I gave up. I gave up that minute to you. You gotta try to take advantage of that. When I'm doing double time, then plus asking questions here. Okay. All right, Ken, you're up.
What's your thought on toll roads?
I don't like the toll road. If the toll road's built with taxpayer dollars, I don't think it ought to be a toll road. private industry comes in and wants to build a toll road, and they can buy the right-of-ways at the right property values instead of trying to decrease the property values and get it for nothing. I wouldn't have a problem with it, but that don't ever happen. I'm against toll roads. Usually they say, we'll build a toll road when it gets paid for, but it won't be a toll road anymore. That's what happened to Beltway 8 when it first, years ago, when it first come out. It'll be a toll road, and then it'll be, once it's paid for, it won't be a toll anymore. We're still paying for it.
Do you know when the payoff date is on that?
No.
Have they set one?
I think it's already been paid off.
It's a hard toll road and the Beltway 8.
Yeah.
Originally,
Even with the expansions, because they've expanded out several ways.
the only one that I know of in the state of Texas that's not a toll road anymore, that's just started out being a toll road, that once it paid off, they opened it up, that was one between Dallas and Fort Worth. Once they become toll roads, then like they stay toll road.
I thought it was the law that they couldn't do.
Well, the news are actually private enterprise, they will never
Private, yeah.
shut down all its business.
So what's your opinion of the HOVs, high occupancy, like on Katy Freeway? And there may come a time that it comes into Montgomery County that they have HOV lanes that they're charging tolls on.
Personally, I don't think they ought to do that. Like I say, if it's taxpayer dollars, it's built for road, it ought to be built, taxpayer ought to be able to drive on for free.
Okay. All righty. James?
Okay, I'll take a slightly different direction. Now, we know the county commissioners make close to $160,000 a year. They are responsible for a budget that's $300+ million and going up. We know there's recently was an issue, don't know who it was with, don't really care to name names anyway. The grand jury had issue with what the county commissioners did on building the jail and the mental health facility. And apparently there was some money on the sly. Anyway, that aside, it raises this question. Would you, becoming a county commissioner, considering your current occupation, would that be a small step for you? In which case, why are you doing it? Is it a big step for you? In which case, convince us you're ready for it.
Money-wise, it's not a change. Money-wise, position-wise, to be able to work with the community and give back to the community, it'd be a great step for me. Because right now I don't have the time to invest in the community like I'd like to. As far as the facility you're talking about over there, that they got trouble on, that's a totally different subject. My opinion on things like that is it ought to be out on the option, not the option block, but bid block, where everybody and anybody can bid on it, that's qualified to bid on it. And it should be open to the public so they can see what other people bid on.
One little, thank you, one little side issue. Currently, Ed Reinhardt outsources his road crews. He doesn't really have, I think he may have a few people for emergencies, but any road development is by contract. The other commissioners is employees. Which direction will you take?
It ought to be in-house if you're paying employees to be there, or you ought to be able to do most of it in-house. And as far as building new roads, the county should be building new roads. The county ought to be maintaining the roads they have.
Okay. So employees for maintenance, not for road construction?
Not for road construction.
Okay.
I mean, the county's not in business to do construction, they're in business to maintain.
So you're saying you'll continue what Ed Reinhardt is doing now, right?
Outsourcing the new roads, yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I have, thanks.
Are you, there's a kind of a quasi-county organization called HGAC, are you familiar with it?
Yes, sir.
It's the Houston Galveston Area Council. And they oversee a lot of the distribution of funds within the 13 council member.
Is it just road funds?
Primarily,
Okay.
that affect property rights. Are you familiar with Agenda 21? Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with it.
because my question was gonna be, if you were familiar with it, what could you do, would you do? It's kind of an international initiative that Papa Bush signed on to, in kind of the New World Order and sustainability. Are you familiar with that concept? Sustainability of land, property usage, and how a big population like the Houston metro area can live off the land, so to speak, and maintain us from basically running all over each other. And it has to do with planned roadways, tollways, and that sort of thing. So you're not familiar with any of that at all?
Can't say that I am.
Okay, all right. Ken?
All right. What's your thought on red light cameras?
Totally gets it.
Okay, why is that?
Already an officer sitting there, if they're gonna check people for running red lights, already an officer there, not just a camera sitting there. To me,
Okay.
that's a kind of an invasion of privacy type deal. It could be something that they could let her lead on, and to have a camera sitting up on the side of the road, see if you're speeding or not. Yeah, that's opening the door up to something that we don't need. Just another way to make revenue. That's it.
Yep.
Sure. I know your focus is New Caney, it's where you live, and we're talking about Precinct 4. At the same time, of course, the money that you'll be using won't just come from New Caney, it won't come just from Precinct 4, it's the whole county.
Okay.
Now, we know historically, for instance, when they had the last road bond that failed for 300 million, I think it was, 200 million, that's right, 200. They're going to divvy it up 50 million per commissioner. Only one even could say what he was going to do with the money. So my question is this, with you as county commissioner, are you going to continue to get your piece of the pie to spend as you see fit? Or, and we know one of the commissioners, James Nowak, is trying to do at least countywide road planning and then let the money go where it needs to go. Then there's the HGAC that John was talking about for regional planning. Now, there's also road funds tied into that we don't get a dime of right now because we're not participating in it. So my question to you is this: you're going to continue with your piece of the pie? If not, what do you plan to do to work with the other county commissioners? Are you going to really push them hard or not in terms of doing countywide planning? And if so, what would be the benefits of that? And if not,
It needs to be countywide. It don't need to be precinct by precinct. You can't run a road up there and stop it and at the end of the precinct line and not continue on. It needs to be precinct wide. All the roads need to be planned. Countywide, not precinct wide.
right?
Countywide. Everybody needs to work together.
And the region?
Region also. Everybody needs to work together in the region. Like I say, you can't run a road up there and stop it at the end of your precinct.
Right.
It's got to continue on somewhere.
But see, what if the end result is Precinct 2 gets 40% more road funds than Precinct 4? How will you explain that to your Precinct 4 voters?
Let's look into it and see why they get more money. We get.
Well, right now the road costs more because it's new, and we won't get our turn until 5 years from now, whatever the reason.
Yeah.
You'll tell them it's justified that, yes, I know you're paying taxes, but right now your money needs to go to the west side of the county. That'll be okay.
It just depends on what it's going for. I'd have to do some research on it and see what the money's going. I mean, if it is more imparted, then it's more imparted. If it's not, if it's just something that some wants and not needs,
Yeah.
we need to back up here.
You have time for a little short one? It may be short. We've talked about roads. What else would you consider would be appropriate funding? Or better yet, what would you consider inappropriate expenditure of county funds that we're doing right now?
Investing in or loaning money or investing money, or how you want to put it, to private companies
Okay.
or business, startup businesses. I don't think county tax dollars or any tax dollars ought to go to a private company.
What about Camp Strake? Because now the county commissioners just
They just
gave-
approved that, and,
Yeah.
and I don't know all the details of that. From what I go, Conroe is putting up 20 million, the county's putting up 20 million.
Yeah.
I can see giving a tax rebate abatement, not a rebate, but an abatement to get them started, and let the taxes increase, but to give them money up front to start a business. Is that proper?
Well, and we talked to you this earlier, I'm from ExxonMobil,
Yeah.
and that company's, the employees are bringing a lot of money into this county.
That's right.
So my question is, if Camp Straight gets $20 million, why can't myself and each of my colleagues get a tax abatement on our home taxes?
I agree.
It's fair, right?
I agree. And I would love for the county to spend 20 million for me to open up a company.
That's right, that's exactly right. So,
But I don't, personally, I don't think tax dollars ought to go to private industries.
or individuals,
Or individuals.
But
yeah,
you're
so-
okay with an abatement though, of tax?
If it's wrote out and they got a tax abatement plan to where, yeah, you gotta have a little bit of tax abatement to invite people in, to try to encourage them to come to your county. But have a plan that moves back up to where they pay their equal share later on.
well, now, there's an entire subdivision that's being built in Harris County to serve the new employees coming in to ExxonMobil. Why not attract those residents to come up to Montgomery County and give them like a 5-year abatement on their
Abatement.
house taxes?
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Okay, if you're elected, I'll be knocking on your door.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. To encourage them to bring them into our county.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because eventually they're gonna start paying taxes.
Yeah, that's right.
And that increases our tax base.
Or they may sell and move back to Harris County.
I think we had one company just did.
Yeah, exactly.
Gave them abatement, when the abatement run out, they moved out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it needs to be a contract, it needs to be something that they can't just jump up and run, it's gotta be thought out and be right, squared away.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, James and I used up our 2 minutes, so Ken, I'll kick it over to you.
All right. County obligation bonds. What terms should exist before the county commissioners decide to use the obligation bonds rather than going to the voters?
No time, personally, I think it ought to all go to the voters. I don't think we ought to be able to do it, unless it's the voters want it.
What if you have a severe
Emergency fund.
drainage back? Yeah.
The emergency fund is a little different. I mean, if you got an emergency out there, you gotta get something done, you gotta to get it done quick, and you've got the money to do it, let's do it. If it's common sense and it's gotta be done, but just because you need a bunch of roads fixed, I think the voters are, before we go in debt, the voters ought to be able to say, yes, we
Right.
are, no, we're not.
So what constitutes an emergency?
Well, say a bridge falls down, we've had before, bridge washes out, that's an emergency.
But could we get state funds from the rainy day fund? That's for state emergencies, right?
If
Like a
it's-
hurricane, that
If
kind
it's
of
a
thing?
state road, yeah, we could.
Okay.
But look, the roads I'm talking about is county roads. So we've got a couple county bridges collapsed over in the past. That's, to me, that's an emergency fund.
Okay.
How much time do we have?
We were at halfway point, or actually just past that. We got about 10 minutes left in questioning. And I think it's yours.
Now, I know that, not in New Caney, but near New Caney, back in the woods, it's near a small town, I won't name it on film. But there is an area where the landowner, who doesn't live here, I believe lives up in Dallas, but it's in our precinct 4, has some shacks put up, and there are undoubtedly illegals living in those shacks. And I've driven by. They don't usually have cars. Someone comes, picks them up, takes them to work. We're talking about whole families, you know. So my question is, as county commissioner, what do you think can be done? I don't know. I mean, I feel sorry for these people, but at the same time, they are here illegally. What do we do about the illegals that are in our county? Now, I know when they're sick, we're gonna be paying for that out of the hospital district. And I'll let you take it from there.
Well, as a commissioner's hands are tied when it comes to illegals. Personally, If you're illegal, you're breaking the law, you ought to be punished or reported.
Mhm.
I mean, it's cut and dried. Everybody looks at it a little different. To me, if you're illegal, you're breaking the law.
Well, what about someone putting up shacks like that?
If you're a landowner, you
Yeah.
put up shacks or houses for sale.
No, these are shacks, but go ahead.
For illegals to live there. There's been one company in Conroe that they shut down because of that. I
Mhm.
don't know if you've been there long enough to know that.
I don't. What was the basis? Or what basis would you use
Yeah.
to shut it down?
Same thing. You got illegals living on the land. We can't have that.
What is that, like a building code, or not
We
familiar
don't,
with
well,
it?
it depends on where you're at in the county. A lot of our county, a lot of our parts of the county don't have,
Well, this is near a city, it's a very small, and it's in an unincorporated area.
Like I say, it's tough. It's hard to shut something like that down, unless you can just prove that the living conditions are unsafe.
Okay.
The county commissioner is limited on law enforcement. He can't just jump in there and kick them out or throw them
Right.
out. If he knows they're illegal, get the border patrol and our immigration involved, and let's see what we can do on that part. The landowner, can you punish him? Can you fine him? I don't know if we can or not. I don't know the answer to that. I have to do some more research and see if the landowner can actually do it, get fined for it.
Okay.
I do know over in the east side, behind Roman Forest over there, in that neck of the woods, you got these people selling these lots over there to a lot of illegals. They took $300 down, took $300 a month, they put them in a trailer house and a water well and a septic tank out there. And I feel sorry for the people that's living there.
Mhm.
Is there any way we can regulate the real estate company from selling that property that's in the floodplain, and knowing that when it comes a good flood, what little bit them people's got back there, they're gonna lose all of it?
Right,
Okay.
thank you.
Can we do anything about that? That's the question too.
Yeah.
All right, who is endorsing you and what is their relationship to you?
Who's endorsing me? I don't think anybody, I have any major endorsements other than people, the voters.
What about contributors, major contributors?
No, sir. Most of this I'm doing out of my pocket. I'm real careful about who I take money from.
Okay.
I don't wanna be obligated to any particular group. I don't wanna be obligated to any particular company or anything like that. I wanna be able to make a decision based on what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and what the voters want. I don't wanna be obligated to anybody.
Okay. Two minutes, and let's see, we've got 5 minutes left.
Okay.
Kim?
What's your involvement with county government right now? Are you,
I was precinct chair for Republican Party 26 and also election judge for 26.
okay, and you go to the commissioners' courts and,
No, sir,
Okay.
not during the day. I have to work.
okay, yeah, fair enough.
On that, and we've kind of hinted on this in terms of what you plan to do, but you're already fully employed. Obviously, I think I've been twice to the county commissioners court. I have to take off from work. So the question I have is, will you consider this a full-time job? And if so, what are you going to be doing with whatever else you have going on when you're county commissioner?
It'd be a full-time job.
Do you want to have any business on the side?
No
Anything like
business on the
that?
side. I've got a little safety consulting company that I do right now, but it's not a company that takes a long time. It's just, a little bit here, a little bit there. Will I shut that down? I probably won't, but it takes a couple hours a week at the most.
You mentioned you wanted everything out for bid.
Right.
You agree with giving, say, county residents or even precinct 4 businesses that are resident there a point advantage in the bidding process? If no, why not? If yes, why?
I think it ought to be limited to, not limited, but it should go to the residents of the county first, give them the opportunity to bid on it.
Well, they use a point system. Do you know how many points you would add for a local resident, or local business, I should say? I think the city of Conroe gives a 5-point preference.
We could look at something, adopting something similar to that,
Okay.
if it's possible. You know, it's not always necessarily the lowest bidder that gets the job. It's not always, you know, it could be you gotta look at his qualifications, you gotta look at his work record.
Well, that's what the point system is supposed to do.
Right, there's a lot of things we need to look at, but I think the local people ought to be given the opportunity to do the work first, keep it local.
Okay, thanks.
If they're gonna pay taxes, let's try to get some of it back.
That's true.
Okay, that it, Jim?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Do you know what ALAC is?
No, sir.
Okay. American Laws for American Courts. Are you familiar with Sharia law?
Very little.
Okay. It's, what do you know that's little?
Very little.
Do you know
It's
Arab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Muslim.
Islam?
Yeah, I don't know anything about the law, but I've never sat down and read anything.
Okay, all right. Well, one thing we're concerned on with our commissioners, we want to make sure that they're upholding and protecting us and working with the county attorney to make sure that whatever influences come in from the outside don't impact us as a county. And two major ones that could be would be the underpinnings of Agenda 21 and through the HGAC, the Houston Galveston Area Council, which is going to have a big impact on the planning of our infrastructure and highways. And then Sharia law, which is Islam law, and which is coming in through the Northeast and different states like Michigan and some in New York. And we just want to make sure that our county commissioners are aware of what these things are and what type of influences are coming in from whatever angle it is. And to apprise our county attorney, who certainly you'd be working with, to make sure that you're working strictly under U.S. law and not any other influences that would undermine our Constitution. So that's a big concern, I think, you know, for a lot of us from that perspective. So, okay, I'll turn it to Ken.
And kind of going off of that, what's your thoughts on religion influence in politics?
You know, our forefathers, when they wrote the Constitution, we have a right to be any religion we want to be. It didn't say we had to be separate, the government and the religion. It didn't say nothing there about being separate, because we had the right to be any religion we want to be. And I believe in that. I firmly believe in that. I believe that the religion and the government can work hand in hand with each other. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I go to church every time the doors are open. I believe in it strongly. I think we need to put God back into our county. I believe God needs to be in there and everything. I mean, it's just the way I feel. I don't see anything wrong with saying a prayer in a public football field, or saying a prayer in a meeting before you go to a county meeting. I don't see anything wrong with it. I personally believe it.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's it. That's 1:45, and so at this point, I'd like to give you up to 5 minutes. Step on 2 minutes here. I'm gonna let you work this time. Give you 5 minutes, Mr. Quinn, to do your up to 5 minutes to do your closing statement, and anything you want to
Well, I appreciate y'all bringing me in and letting me answer some questions. There's still a lot of things, a lot of questions that come up when I'm out talking to people. One of them asked me about the religion. I'm United Pentecost. I believe in God. I believe God, as long as He's got His hand on us, He can do a lot of things. We can do a lot of things. He can help us do a lot of things. I believe in family values. It takes everybody. It takes everybody working together to make things operate right. And that's what I'm gonna try to do, put the community back together, let the voters decide what they want, when they want it, how much money they want to spend on it. It should be left up to the voters, the people paying the tax dollars. It shouldn't be left up to one or two people to make decisions for everybody. Yeah, they vote you in with the trust that you're gonna do what they want you to do. But in order to do that, you need to let them know what's going on and how you're gonna vote on it, or how they want you to vote on it. If elected to office, I will have set up meetings, neighborhood meetings, whatever it takes, at a time that people can participate, not just during the day where the workers don't get to participate in. Set up a time where everybody can get together, all over the precinct, and find out what everybody wants, let them know what's going on, so they have a voice. I mean, that's what we're all here for, to have a voice in our government. That's it.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you.